This is it. Take a look. We now have smart money that has finished accumulating as we are getting ready for another historic run for the cryptocurrency market. As of course, Elon Musk has one favorite crypto. You already know what it is. Look at that beautiful thing there. It is, of course, a Dogecoin. And if you think for 1 second that as we see this next run form for BTC, Elon Musk isn't going to be doing awesome things for Dogecoin that's significantly higher percentage-wise than BTC, then you have another thing coming to expand on an extremely long thought there. As you come into live, take a second to press that like button. We want to make sure we're getting this out to as many people as possible. It really does help to do that. Also, you may or may not have a magical fairy come to your doorstep and drop $1 million worth of Dogecoin directly into your wallet through a secret seed phrase if you press the like button. It may or may not happen, so it's worth a chance, right? You might as well give it a shot and see what happens there, as we now have the fourth cycle under extreme warning of spikeage here. You can see each time we have seen this accumulation period of smart money, 2019, 2015, 2011, a lot of people saying when we were down here that we were about to see the next cycle form, but now with this continuation here looking extremely similar to all of the previous patterns, it is just confirmation for sure that we have a extremely high probability of the next bull run starting not just within the next few months, but potentially within the next few weeks. Now, most likely it will take in the months range. It could even be until 2024 that we have to wait before we do see this major run materialize. But if we just simply look at these patterns here and we see what's happened in the past, it is possible for it to break out as soon as next month. It could even break out as soon as next week if we see extreme upside through the form of a big news event. It's on the verge now. All it takes is one big thing at this point in time, and we are there. That's it. It doesn't have to be some massive, all-around encompassing thing. Just one pretty big news story. And boom, we are into bull market territory here. Doge and Dogex much wow, says OG Doge King. There we go. I like the sound of that. And keep in mind, I'm saying this in the face of a decent sized drop in cryptocurrency this week. 8%, 12% for Bitcoin and Ethereum respectively, 14% Cardano, 12% Dogecoin, 15% for Polygon, 15% Solana, going below Dogecoin. Polygon also now below Dogecoin, as well as is Polkadot. Dogecoin now the number 8 position from Polygon's significant decrease in values. Dogecoin's holding pretty strong. I mean, we've seen runs with a lot of these coins in the 9 to 15 range, and then those runs completely and totally spatter out, and Dogecoin remains left up at the top. That right there is something that should give you more confidence in Dogecoin than a lot of other coins at the top right now. Keep doing your thing, Matt, says OG Doge. I appreciate that. OG in the house. I figured there would be another drop to the 7 cent, but who knows? I already am in, so let her rip. Right now, 789, so we are in the 7 cent range. I told you literally like a year ago at this point that we were going to see Dogecoin falling most likely to around 5 to 6 cents, but it would be the floor at that point, and we would not see it falling further than that. And I said with BTC it would be 21K. Both of those have held extremely true. Bitcoin, for a brief amount of time, dropped below 21K, and of course went right back, just as I predicted would happen. Dogecoin never even fell below our floor target. It just hit it almost exactly. And remember, we did that a year ago. So we know what we're talking about here on Final Stand, which is why you should subscribe with the notifications on if you're watching for the first time to stay updated in real time. Absolutely worth doing, as we also, of course, have a couple other big stories to talk about, including this one. A Scottish woman to sell her home after a 200K scam. Very sad to see that, as we now have people who are making bank. This guy right here, Michael Gronger, and he is right now one of the main people who's investigating these things. They have over 60 million in contracts with the federal government for crypto investigation. He's the chief executive of Chain Analysis. And basically what they do is they comb through all of these transactions and they find ways around the different techniques that criminals use to try to hide things. But even if you just want to make money, if you can learn how to truly track these cryptocurrency transactions in a very efficient way, you can start your own business, advertise anywhere, and say, hey, if you lost your cryptocurrency, if someone stole it from you, we can do our best to track it. You hire us, we'll try to help you out. And it is true that in most cases that will actually be able to help you because the criminals are very good at taking their money. But in some cases, they actually can do something, especially if it's a larger amount. And so in some cases, it can be very much worth it to hire someone who knows what the heck they're talking about. But is there any reason you can't do that? Well, of course you can. If you not only have a technical background, but also you have a willingness to learn, then you can do that. And you can also join a bigger team like Chain Analysis, who is being paid by the federal government to do these things on an extremely high level. There's a lot of opportunities to make money in that. I mean, $67 million in contracts. That's a heck of a lot of money of our taxpayer dollars going towards this, but it's worth it because they are getting hundreds of millions, sometimes billions of dollars back from cryptocurrency scammers and thieves. Very good to see that, as here's an example of what tracking and analysis can do. A whale with 1,120 BTC. We've been talking about a lot of these whales that are starting to move their BTC from a long time ago. And we're talking about 2013 in this case. October 12th was when they received it. 2013, their last movement. I mean, that's a really long time. You have to wonder what this person was thinking. I mean, how do you not move any BTC for a decade? I mean, that's insane. You would have to assume that this person had lost their seed phrase or no longer had access to their wallet, especially considering they purchased it all the way back in 2013 when it was almost entirely valueless compared to now. I mean, it still had some value, right? But they purchased it all the way back then, especially if you're buying that much. That's going to have a decent amount of value. But it's still very, very much true that you would assume they wouldn't have access, and the fact they did. I mean, there could be a really interesting story behind this. There may be some dude who thought he was never going to find his crypto again, and then he goes inside one of his old shoe boxes or something. Oh, there's my seed phrase, and now I have access to my $7 million fortune. Wouldn't that be nice? Wouldn't that be pretty? That'd be a pretty dang good day. I mean, a lot of us here have already made a lot of money from crypto, but I don't think anyone would say finding $8 million in a shoebox would be a bad day. I mean, that's a heck of an awesome thing to consider, and I certainly hope it happens to every single one of us. Why not, right? Even if you just, like, let's say you go to a garage sale. Okay, here's a question. If you go to a garage sale and you buy something like a picture frame, and you open up that picture frame and you discover that inside that picture frame is a seed phrase, and inside that is access to millions of dollars of cryptocurrency, would you go and tell the person at the garage sale, hey, I found your seed phrase? Or would you say, all right, that's my crypto now? That's a question for you. Now, personally, I think the right thing to do would be to tell them, but at the same time, I can understand. I mean, that's a lot of money, and technically you did buy it. It is technically, in a way, something you could consider to be yours. But whoever the person is who's running the garage sale, whoever the estate is, you also have to look at it from this perspective. If someone comes and says, I found your seed phrase with millions of dollars on it, you better give them a heck of a large percentage of that as a reward, because they could have easily taken that and had a legal case to do so. So whichever way you look at it, I think, and at the very least, even if you do say you want to take it, at least give a decent percentage of it. Like, maybe say, okay, I found this, I'll give you half of it, I'll take half of it. I mean, that could be one way to do it if you do want to actually rake in on that find in the garage sale. But I feel like that's going to happen to a lot of people. I mean, there's no question there will be a lot of people who end up getting rich from a random purchase of an item that was used, and then they end up finding a seed phrase in it where their relatives had no idea. Especially as a lot of the younger generations start to get older, this is going to happen even at a higher rate. It'll be very interesting to see where that course takes us. And it used to be, oh, you find maybe art at a garage sale and it's worth a lot of money. Now you could find literally a giant stash of crypto, even if it's just $50,000 or something. And you could end up having really good finds at garage sales just from that. As we are also seeing a pretty big increase in the hate of Elon Musk on Twitter. Elon Musk calling this out in the form of responding to this tweet from Mario, who, by the way, I'm actually on his Spaces right now. I'm doing my phone's in the other room. I'm on his Spaces right now, even though I'm also doing this live stream, which is kind of funny. I'm about to go join back after. But he very clearly illustrated the difference between the coverage of, for example, NASA and SpaceX, where SpaceX was extremely successful with their launch, cost 200 times less than NASA for the rocket and for the launch, and yet they're still able to achieve liftoff if they hadn't have had those engines fail because of rocks hitting them, which will be easily solvable by just simply changing the launching pad. If they hadn't have had that happen, it would have been all the way into orbit, most likely. So a few easy tweaks, and I say easy, I mean still rocket science. It's relatively easy for a team as sophisticated and smart and well-funded as Elon Musk's SpaceX. It's going to be somewhat easy for them to actually achieve that. Very important to keep in mind, because once they do achieve it, then what are all these people who are saying they're failing going to say at that point? They won't really have much of a leg to stand on, not that they do anyway. Now, it's just funny. I mean, it all comes down to one thing. Ideological. There are people who are part of something that could be considered a woke ideology. I mean, that's what it is. and they will vehemently go after anyone who disagrees with it even slightly. Now, there's also a more conservative ideology as well that has a similar mindset. I don't think either of them are good. In fact, both of them end up causing people to do illogical things and consistently make decisions that are worse because of that. It is true, however, that a higher percentage of people who are part of the more woke side are extremely emotionally attached to their views, and the people on the right who are of the same mindset are significantly less of a percentage, but still just as bad. We don't want any of that. And the more we have moderation, the more we have people who are truly making decisions based on what's best rather than what their ideology says they're supposed to do, then that's going to lead to a significantly better country and also a significantly better atmosphere for the economy as well to go along with it. Someone said full of POOP. Well, what is? Oh, you mean the people doing that? Yeah, it's 100% they are. I mean, it's fake virtue signaling at its finest. And one other very sad thing is that the people who do seem to go more towards the woke virtue signaling have a large percentage of the media that they control, and they adamantly can consistently use that as an arm to push their own ideology, which doesn't make any sense when it comes to actually making the country better. It only makes sense if you just want your side to win no matter what, and you hate the other side vehemently, and you want them to lose at any cost. Then that's when that becomes applicable. But it doesn't help any of the rest of us, and it's absolutely bad even for people who are on the left, because it makes the entire country worse, and it forces you to either go further to the left to try to be accepted by the extreme faction, or not be accepted. And then you're in a position where, okay, well, this is supposed to be my party, right? But now I disagree with a lot of the people who are most vocal within it. It's just harmful in every single capacity. There is no positive from that. As we've also seen on Twitter, Elon Musk making some absolute roasts that are truly glorious to watch. Now, one of them, which I think is getting the most attention, is well, of course, he's roasting NPCs. There's no doubt that is funny and fun to watch, but he's also gone even further with that, and he's been roasting some of the people who are complaining. Like, this one was just absolutely gold. Tking says, I think Mr. Musk should give my blue check to charity. I recommend the Pertula Foundation, which provides life-saving services in Ukraine. It's only $8, so perhaps Mr. Musk could add a bit more. And he says, well, I've donated $100 million to Ukraine. How much have you donated? And also, they didn't accept the Department of Defense money, which was offered to them. Elon Musk said, all right, I'll pay for it all myself. No one's going to be able to use the excuse that I got government money to do it. Like they do with Tesla, like they try to do at least, which people, for the most part, know better than to believe that shenanigans. But this ideology, becoming the main priority for so many people, is leading absolutely, and you can see that I'm on Spaces right now while I'm on this. This ideology is leading to a lot of bad things. And if we continue to scroll down here, you can see my response. Tking joined Ukraine and fought for what he believes in. JK... Can you imagine if he actually did that? Instead, he just offers carrying lot. Now, if you could make a device that is able to use carrying lot to fire it at the opponents, I'm not going to use the word there because YouTube will get mad at me. You can read it. If you were able to do that, then Tking would be a true hero. But instead, he's just simply someone who says, oh, well, I care more than you, therefore I'm better. Well, okay, Steven, that's great. Remember, you have a net worth of $500 million, and if you want to donate, you certainly could. I'm sure you have donated some, probably a very small amount compared to your net worth. Not that that's something to be ashamed. I mean, it's still good to donate to causes you believe in, but the fact that you're judging other people and telling them to do something that you really aren't willing to do, because most people have to make an actual sacrifice to donate, and a lot of people do that. Tking hasn't made a single sacrifice to donate. He still lives in his mansion. He still has his fancy cars and still lives in his luxury and massages, whatever he wants. You know, he still has everything he could ever imagine. There's not a single sacrifice he makes to donate money. There are people who actually don't go on a vacation and donate money. There are people who actually make sacrifices, and I think that's significantly more admirable than just simply writing a check of money you were never going to use anyway. That doesn't have any profound impact on motivating me to believe you're actually doing this for any other reason besides virtue signaling to some degree. And even if it is to also help, it's still the help plus you want a virtue signal too. I mean, it's frustrating. We need more billionaires like Elon Musk and less like George Soros, who agrees Elon Musk said meat. Absolute good. You gotta love it. Elon Musk having some fun. Matt, I love you long time, says Julie Gardner. Appreciate that, Julie. Much love to you as well. Having fun since all the way back in the day of the early days of Dogecoin. There's no doubt. There's no doubt. It's a good time from the beginning, and it will continue to be for the foreseeable future, especially as Dogecoin spikes. That's going to be extremely, extremely fun. But anyway, hopefully you have a good day. I'm Wallace. This is Final Stand, and I'll see you in the next video.